Welcome to Apex Esports League. I'm JT. Tonight we're live with Project Cars 2 for PlayStation for Pagnian Imports Ferrari 488 Challenge Round 2. Tonight's round we are at Monaco for Azure Circuit. Tonight's session we'll be heading over for 15 minutes of practice. Weather is light cloud, then there's 15 minutes qualifying. Weather is medium cloud. Our first race is a sprint race and it's 11 laps with weather medium cloud, no mandatory pit. Then we'll be heading off for a 9-minute break and then head into session 2 where we'll have 15 minutes of qualifying. Weather is light cloud. And then the main race is 22 laps. Weather will progress from clear through to light cloud with a mandatory pit. After the first round, we had Sami take the lead for the championship by 60 points, just ahead of Corby 387, and then very close between 3rd and 6th, with Wira, Gallen, Mark, and DK all sitting very close. Last week at Sonoma Raceway GP for round 1, Marky Mark took victory in the sprint race after qualifying 2nd, and Sami taking the fastest lap bonus points. And Sami, after qualifying 4th, took victory in the main race, with Wira Dejuri 81 taking the fastest lap bonus points. So over to the track map. Of course, we are in France for Azure Circuit, and this is Monaco. Game session time is starting at 9 AM. The track length is 3.34 kilometres. There's 19 turns, and it is a very tight technical track. Lots of walls, some very tight hairpins, very limited passing opportunities. So seeing 16 cars out on the grid will be a very grueling race. There's going to be plenty of action to see. Over to the pits now as the drivers getting themselves ready to head out for their practice session. Track temps are going to be slightly low at the moment. However, this track doesn't take long to get warm. Being rather short track and very narrow. Those driving lines will start to increase temp, lay down some rubber, and then start adding a lot more grip. Drivers are going to be finding a few difficult turns, especially on this hairpin. As we can just see, car out the front. I think that was Corby. Actually, that's DG. And it is default setups. We get some fantastic camera angles for this track. We're going to be seeing some fantastic passes, some great visuals of the Ferraris as they fang around Monaco. And if you're joining us for the stream for the first time, don't forget to hit that follow button. We do appreciate the support we're getting for our drivers, members, and the league in general. It's very close to reaching 160 followers. We've come a long way for just over 12 months with the league. Oh, ball contact coming through the chicane. And you will notice a different name up on the board. That is Coolboy. So he isn't a newcomer or debuting. That is actually Black Eye Warrior. He's did just upgrade to the PlayStation 5, and then we did have some issues with trying to get him into the demo derby, I believe it was, and also, I think Simo Zimzel just completely missed turn 1. He's just been that car. It looks like it's probably taken some hefty damage going straight into that wall. I don't believe it'd be a tyre wall, so it'd be rather firm. Decides to continue on anyway. The Coolboy is a Black Eye Warrior. Oh, he's a little bit slow. Gets in the road of Simo Zimzel. We're already getting some first times on the board. Hey, Selfie Kiwi. Thanks, mate. Right turns, 6 left turns. jump on board for a lap with someone in a moment as well. The driver's view for a lap around Monza, and he just misses that chicane. Can really catch them off guard, having to really try and get the car across onto the line to be able to brake without putting it into a slide, and then to turn in. Looks like DJ just parked up on the side. Actually, I don't think that is DJ, that might have been Corby. And he's just parked it in. Bolaki just comes through with a 1:39, nearly flat. That is a very quick first opening lap time. May be a little bit delayed in seeing some first times coming up on the board. Hey, as normal, thanks for joining us. This is going to be a good chance there's going to be a little bit of wall contact in these first opening laps. So it's going to probably invalidate their lap times. Dirty Monkey also jumping on board with 1:39. Pretzelnader with 1:42. A lot of slip as he comes down through that section. We have forced this series to be default setups, so the drivers cannot customize their cars. Whether the variants to where we have had previous series coming in with default setups, they usually start on the hard compound tyres, where the Ferrari series actually has a special tyre, so that actually runs a Pirelli soft, where generally most tyres it's either just soft slicks or hard slicks. It's because this actual brand of series racing actually do have proper endorsements for using certain tyres in the series, in the actual real 488 challenge. That's what Project Cars 2 has mimicked. Oh, a little bit of lag going on for Gallon 350. It looked like he was making some wall contact, but then he did just quickly side skip across back out onto the driving line. He's come through for 1:36.2. That's a very good time. Balaki's improved that 1:39. Still showing some phenomenal potential out there with 1:37.479. Not much difference between Balaki and Dirty Monkey. We'll make our way down through the list. We've got all our drivers so we can familiarise with their car colours. Then we have Sami, our championship leader after having a great run in the main race last week at Sonoma. Over to Mick Cliff. We've seen progress onto a steering wheel over the last couple of weeks, and then also setting himself up now with a next level racing wheel stand light. The prize that was up for grabs for the last championship, which Gallon 350 had won, did kindly donate that stand to Mick, and it did arrive this week, so he's now running that tonight. They keep an eye out for Mick. He's got a much more stable setup for the steering wheel, so he's not out there battling it on the controller anymore. Demon Effects has landed a 1:45.9. Yeah, we need to see you back on track, Slappy. We've got some good stuff coming up in the lead up to Christmas. We're running the V8s after the Ferrari series, and then we will be doing the GT4s, and that will take us up to Christmas break. We'll definitely have some casual fun races during the Christmas holiday period. We'll have a few weeks off from broadcasting. Simson's car looking well beat up. We did see him miss that turn 1 early on in the practice. That's most likely just residual visual damage. Oh, big slide. Really struggling with that car at the moment. He's probably back out there on cold tyres again. We have DG. We're currently in the pits. And to Paulie 0489, who debuted with us last week. And it was a tricky one to have a debut in. He did suffer a disconnect in the first race, so he did not finish. So qualified 13th and missed out on those race points, having been disconnected at grid start. However, took 15th in the main race, so getting some decent points still from the main race. And then default setups on the Ferraris for a debut. And new to sim racing, he's doing spectacularly well. Demon Effects currently holding the quickest time, 1:35.279. Philly also in the 1:35s, followed by Corby. Oh, Marky Mark's just squeezed in with 1:35 as well. A little bit slippery coming through turn 1. He's going to loop that around. Oh, he puts that straight in the wall. Misjudged that. I feel like we're not too far from someone that we can jump on for a quick lap around. Yes, likely track day series. I have been contemplating to do one of those. Definitely during the break we'll be playing with, might jump aboard with Marky Mark. Going through sector 1. To watch the understeer coming here. Come across onto that wall. He's going to snap it. We've just jinxed him. We'll jump aboard with Demon. Hopefully we don't cause him to bin it. It's down to turn 1. It is quite hard to try and gauge where that curb is from that cockpit view. And this is where we saw the understeer and then the snap in trying to correct that understeer. And then a sharp right hand. Squeeze it right out to that wall, and you've got to stay very left here to be able to get these first hairpins. With the very limited view from the cockpits and not being able to look into the corners so much, it's very hard to judge these corners, just where that wall is. And he's overcorrected that hairpin up over the curb. You can reasonably take this corner quickly if you get the right line. But if you do mess that up, you do find that solid metal wall. And the cars do tend to slide out to that outside wall through the tunnel. You get the car over under braking into the chicanes. That in the 4th, 5th, and should be down a couple of gears, or he's going to stay in 4th. He's going to slide that out right to the wall. If you get a nice line, you can go flat stick down through the next chicanes. However, then needing to brake pretty hard for the sharp right to left elbow. The last sector, very tricky little section, especially with trying to find the pit entry as well. It is actually just off to the right there. And that's a lap around Azure circuit, which is Monaco. You can see the pit exit line, that orange line off to the side is actually a pretty safe pit exit position. A lot of tracks we do tend to find that the pit exit comes out right on the racing line where they're getting a fair bit of pace, where the drivers are actually staying out very wide, and the full exit is all offline. Black is still doing well, 1:36.165. Looks like we got some chat bots jumping in, asking if we want to buy followers and viewers. Definitely don't need that. But I appreciate the bots to jump on and be viewing the stream. I hope they enjoy it. So Paulie, yet to get time on the board. Car's not looking in great shape at the moment. That's probably residual visual damage. There's 1 minute and 8 seconds remaining of the practice session. And he gets the time on the board. 1:51. It's 15 seconds currently separating the field. Demon Effects currently half a second off his quickest time. Landing a 1:34.701. That is very quick. Demon is running 11th in the championship. Currently sitting on 90 points. We had Demon qualify 6th, take 9th in the sprint race last week. And after qualifying 9th, finished 14th in the main race. It's not having a spectacular race. Looks like he may be able to recover some lost points from last week if he can keep this pace up. However, that could be likely to see a fair few incidents of just how tight and technical this track is. Practice session is complete. Mark's out there doing some good time still as well. I saw him have a fantastic race last week. Got his first podium and first win with Apex, I do believe. A great outcome. Palaki, our youngest driver, has been showing some amazing pace. That just leaves Simo Simsel and Marky Mark and his Simo finishing up his last lap. So there's 25 seconds left to do final laps. I don't think it'll be enough to see Mark cross to the line. Well, it might be. He's not too far. We're going to see them all actually cross the line. There we have Demon or Gallant's car just parked up in front of my screen. It's not coming up on the stream, but there we have Demon FX. So setting in the practice a 1:34.701. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do in the qualifying session. Game session time is now 10 AM. Practice started at 9 AM. Whether the weather conditions, it's slightly more cloudy. So we've progressed from light cover to medium cover. Meaning track temperatures will probably be about the same temp still. All drivers scrambling out onto the track quite quickly. The qualifying time is going to be very critical, especially with just how easy it is to invalidate your lap time. Making that wall contact, especially if you take damage and have to bring that car back into the pits only to go out for another out lap that's not going to count, and then have to get some temp into those tyres again. Happen to be caught up into some slower traffic that could hamper your qualifying. And there is 25 points up for grabs for a pole position. And with how tight It is on the leaderboard. 25 points can make a big difference. So we've got Corby 387 with 180 points. And then progressing down to 6th position, which is DK Rush, is 156 points. So there's not a lot of difference between them. We have Gallon and Marky Mark both tied for 4th in the championship with 158 points. We're in 3rd place with 164. Oh, Palaki makes that wall contact that was most likely invalidated his lap time. It was a pretty solid scrape. With these tight tracks with walls, the game is usually a little bit relaxed, allowing a couple of scrapes before it invalidates the lap time for qualifying. Drivers were mentioning in practicing for this, they were, that Marky Mark goes for a pass in qualifying around the hairpin. I think that's him getting around Philly Manili. Yes, Philly's in the green car. And also making his way past DG, I think that may have been. No, it's Corby's car. Oh, make some wall contact. Sorry, that was Paulie's car. There's several of the white Ferraris out there. As usual, we've got Wira leaving the amazing times for the qualifying session. Straight up setting a 1:35.223. We saw some pretty quick 1:35s in the practice session. So for an opening lap of a 1:35.223, was that already a golden lap? Or has he got more? Can he break that down into a 1:34? Marky Mark showing some good pace still at 1:36.5. When you join us for the stream, if you do look down underneath the stream, there should be a bunch of sound effects controls, so you can actually play applauds and other sound effects to be able to cheer on your favourite drivers during the course of the race. Ooh, Mark just brings that car up in time. He's nearly going to run through. Dirty Monkey showing some fantastic pace still out there with a 1:36.727. A bit too sharp there on that hairpin. I'm pretty sure Dirty does it all on a controller out there as well. This track's going to be rather tedious on a controller. And he's doing incredibly well. DK making some wall contact. And again, it's really pushing this car to its limits. And we will be having a special event broadcasted tomorrow night, same time, 7:30 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time. It's our final special event for the Beyond Blue fundraising project that we were doing. Back on Project Cars 2 for another no rules race. We'll be running 2 teams where drivers can use any tactics to block the other team from getting laps. very similar to style of roller derby, if anyone is familiar with roller derby. And then apparently it's an actual real deal sports, very similar over in New Zealand. That's the New Zealand Super Stock team racing, where it's allowed full contact to even stop and completely block your opponents to be able to allow your attacking car to get out there and complete laps. That's going to be a fair bit of fun with 2 races going on tomorrow night. It'll be great to see what dirty tactics they have in mind to stop their opponents from completing laps. We'll be doing it at Texas Motor Speedway Oval. The BMW M1 Pro cars. It's going to be very exciting. Balaki's been turned around, turn 1 at that pit exit. This lap's not going to be counting for him. I think that Simo has just put the car into the wall. And yes, Wera has come in with a 1:34.541. Pretzelnader a 1:35.584. He's a good 1 second away from Wera's pole setting time. There's not a whole lot of difference between Billy and Pretzel, just under half a second separating P2 and P3. BK navigates that hairpin rather well. With the cars being set to default setups, oh, misjudged that corner. That's where we're going to potentially see incident if someone misjudges that and the cars all racing close in traffic. You can definitely see some pile-ups happening. With the cars being forced to default, not being able to adjust the cars to be able to compensate for those very tight hairpins, it's going to be a lot more tricky. They have to really control their speed, ensure they're in that right gear to be able to turn that car through. However, they can adjust their settings for the sensitivity for their steering. That's not an actual car setup, that's actually an in-game setting. When you're calibrating steering wheels and controllers, you can increase that sensitivity so there'll be much more of a turning circle on the car. And then they do have to be aware if they've done that, it's going to tend to want to oversteer a fair bit throughout the rest of the track, which isn't overly too bad for Monaco. Whereas time looking incredibly hard to beat. 16 seconds separating the grid so far, and that's Sami. Sami was getting some great times in the practice session. There he goes, over a time lap. Ooh, scrapes that wall, it should be fine. He moves up into P10 with a 1:36.884. Big improvements in lap times for the qualifying session. There's just over 4.5 minutes remaining. We have Paulie setting at 1:44.280, so it's only 9.7 seconds away from that pole setting time. So we're seeing some fantastic laps out there. Cool Boy is setting at 1:42.7. I believe he's been the only driver to actually pick a red Ferrari actually in the series. It's been a fantastic selection of liveries for these cars. There are some very great designs in some of the series. In the classes of cars, it gets very limited as to what you can pick. Drivers are usually very quick at registering for the series and picking which car they want. Billy Manilli has stolen pole position. 0.337 quicker than Wera. Corby snuck up with a 1:35.002. That's 0.798 from pole. Really just a fraction ahead of Demon Effects' time. Seeing a little bit of a lag spike. Hopefully we don't see a disconnect occur for anyone. At this point of the qualifying session, a disconnect wouldn't see them make the start of the race. Is rejoining back in those last few minutes of qualifying. It doesn't allow them to grid up. They'll only be able to spectate the race. Philly's going to be having to slow down. Corby's snuck in front of Broa. Not a whole lot of difference. Only 0.037 away from Broa's time. That was DK we saw just move out of the way for Corby and then bring the car in the pits. So it's going to be done and dusted essentially for their qualifying, I believe. I don't think they're going to have enough time to get out for an out lap and cross the line before the countdown has done. So as long as they've crossed the line before the session's end, oh, he's just scraped it up the wall as well. Hopefully there's no damage. Lap's not going to count. And drivers will have to be cautious when they're coming out of the pits. If they put that speed down too much, they start to understeer out and across that yellow line. They will actually be penalised with a time second penalty. Mark struggling with the car at the moment. A little bit of wall contact. It's probably invalidated this lap time. He's got 55 seconds and he's in the back section of sector 3, ready to start a new lap. So that means he's takes another wall contact that may very well have invalidated this lap time and the next lap time, but he hasn't brought it in, so perhaps not. Otherwise, this will be his final lap. We saw him getting up in there in the 1:35s for practice. Can he do this golden lap? Oh, look at that pole position stolen again. 20 seconds remaining of the session. Corby setting a 1:34.080. Only 1:24 away from Philly's time. Now on his final lap of qualifying. Can he recover that pole position? Oh, narrowly makes contact with that wall. Lines it out. He's really digging deep to push this car. And if you are joining us for our stream, haven't done so yet, don't forget to hit that follow button. Oh, very nice line for Philly. And if you want to get involved in any of our racing, you can find us on Facebook for all details. Oh, it's a solid hit from Philly. That's just cost him for this lap. We're obviously not happy with how that lap's going. There's 80 seconds left for qualifying. Well, he's brought that in. There's only a few out. So if you go to fb.com/Apex Esports League, there is the links to our group and all other details. You'll be able to head over and find out information in joining and getting involved in our events. And you can also head over there to see results and standings and any incident reports after the races. You can see how your favourite drivers are going for the series. And our link below for the bit.ly/ApexESL. And it is case sensitive. That is a shortcut link to our YouTube channel where all our past broadcasts are saved, so you can go back and watch all our previous races. There we have conclusion for qualifying for race 1 of round 2 at the Azure circuit. We have Corby 387 taking pole position, setting a 1:33.681. That is superbly quick. So to be half a second ahead of position 2, and then Philly also only setting a quick time of 1:34.204. So that's some very tight times. So then the rest of the grids, we have starting position 2 is Philly Manili, and then followed by Wira, Demon, Pretzel, Sami, Gallon, Dirty Monkey, Balaki, DK, Marky Mark, Mick Cliff, Simo Simsel, Cool Boy, DG, and Paulie. So we're heading over to the grid now. Drivers have got a couple of minutes to get ready for the commencement of the race. Don't be shy in the chat as well. Let us know who you think's going to take the win here. Seen a fair bit of movement in the lap times in the practice compared to the qualifying. It's going to be very much different over the course of 11 laps for the sprint race. Corby's going to have to get away very quickly here, as he's not going to actually be on a great line for turn 1. Going to have to turn a lot sharper from an inside line. That means he's going to have to shave off a lot of speed, and that could be risky, trying to get away quite quickly and dominate that track position ahead of Philly. Where Philly gets a good run here, he's going to be in a very good position to take a very quick turn 1. Essentially, we'll be able to give him a clear run for a majority of the remaining lap, unless he does make a significant error. There's very limited passing opportunities. We're going to see a few attempted passes as we head into the tunnel, and then also along back straight. Ooh. Philly Manili didn't hit that ready button in time. He's just gone to the pits. That's disqualified him. Corby, a little bit of a delayed start, so Wira's pulled out and pulled up into P1. He's making some contact with Corby. He's in a very tough position to try and take that too wide through turn 1. That squeezed himself out into the wall. Corby's flying out front. There's a fair bit of traffic going on as we come for the first few turns. Wira and Pretzel battling it out for position 2. A few exchanges of paint. And again, looking for every inch of track already on lap 1. We're a little bit of understeer. Fair few struggling to get through that hairpin. Oh, there's a bit of a stop. I'm not sure if that was Paulie. Down through the tunnel, Corby now putting a 2-second lead over Wira. Pretzel slightly backed off away from Wira now. He's got Demon quickly closing in, starting to put some pressure on from behind. Now race leader Corby absolutely flying. This is what he needs. All he needs is some very good, clean, focused laps. Get out and away from the traffic. And I could easily see him secure victory early on for this race. Black starting to close in on Marky Mark. We're pulling away from Pretzelnator. DNFX still hanging on. He's not quite closing that gap. I think he seemed to be a lot quicker through Sector 3 compared to Pretzel. Pretzel seemed to be much quicker in Sector 1. Cars closing in. Oh, and there's a shunt from Simo into, I think that's Coolboy's car. Coolboy braking a little early, I believe, from the looks of that shunt. And here we are, Demon closing that gap in again, coming through Sector 3. Demon's car. Sees where he closes the gap in on Pretzel. Pretzel not so great on that line for these last couple of corners, but does seem to pull away rather quickly. Crackle with that engine braking. Oh, Marky Mark scrapes the wall through turn 1. Trying to close in on Demon Effects. Blakey still sitting tight behind Mark. Only 1.1 second away. Dirty Monkey starting to close the gap in on Gallant. That time has been quickly dropping over that last lap. To our race lead, but Corby 387. We did see him have a 2.5 second lead at the first lap. However, now on lap 3, he's got that down to only just 2 seconds. We're quickly catching up some ground. Pretzel still being able to hold off Demon Effects. Both of them having different strengths in different sectors. Letting that gap close in and only to be stretched back out again. Demon's going to be feeling a bit of pressure from Mark now. Last lap, Mark was almost a second quicker. It's 0.1 of a second quicker this time. They're very tight. Corby's pushed that lead out to 2.5 seconds again. DK Rush currently running in 10th. Ducking focused on Coolboy. Looking to take position 9 away from him. Ooh, looks like Pretzel understeered a fair bit through that hairpin, but I think that may have been a bit of lag going on, so it looks like the car skipped back onto the racing line. Continued on rather unaffected to any wall contact. Well, there's a car off to the side. Paulie's had to take his car into the pits. He's on board with Marky Mark. He's laying down some very quick times at the moment. Rather cautious through those couple of corners. Demon really pulling away. Demon really showing a lot of pace through that section. That's where we saw him really close that gap in on Pretzel. However, Pretzel then choosing that different line through those sections, getting away a lot quicker. Blakey's copped a slowdown penalty. He's wearing a 1 second post-race time penalty now. We've only got Philly has disconnected. Looks like we've had someone else retire out. I'm not sure who that is. We're shaved off half a second. DG currently in the pits. Getting some repairs done. We did see him at that section there. Turned around. Looked like he'd made some wall contact. Dirty quickly closing in on Gallon. Might close that gap in again. Only to have Demon really pull away through that first sector. We've reached the halfway point for the race. 5 laps remain. Colby still teetering around that gap of 2 seconds to 2.5 seconds. Pushes out to about 2.5 here. We see where it starts to close that gap in. He's actually pushed it out to 2.6. He's come down into those chicanes rather quick, so he's really pushing that car. That last lap was a 1:35.6 by Corby. I'm surprised if that's the quickest lap of the race. Monkey slightly dropped off. Mark still trying to catch Demon. They're very similarly matched in lap times. Only 0.4 difference between that last lap. Still trying to catch up onto Gallon. Gallon's on the tail of Velaki now. There's a big incident at Sonoma with Velaki going into a spin ahead of Gallon, where he then ended up T-boning him, causing them both significant damage. Still looking to get around Cool Boy. Looks like it's Sami that we're missing, so it looks like Philly has rejoined into the session after that disconnect. He did get DQ'd from the ready, but he may have already been disconnected right at the grid. It looks like Sami did retire out the car. As I said, he's disconnected. Sometimes he is actually on call for work whilst he's racing. So if we do see him have to leave the session, he may have to have had to head out to a job. Took some critical damage fairly early on and just opted to retire out. We're currently on lap 8 of 11. Oh, Marky Mark nearly makes ball contact. Then he corrected that and led to a heap of oversteer. Not sure if he ended up putting that nose into the wall. He's definitely lost that gain that he had on Demon Effects. A bit of a lag skip for Demon. Looked like he's about to put that straight into the wall. Demon's been in the same boat, trying to really close in on Pretzel for the entire race. I've been sitting around that same gap as we have between position 1 and 2. However, we're now trailing by 3.5 seconds. A slight error, but it looked like Colby may have made a slight error for turn 1 as well. Birdie Monkey now copping a post-race time penalty. 1 second. It's most likely they've run and missed that first chicane. If they just run straight through under braking and then avoid that, disobey the slowdown orders by race control, they will get that post-race time penalty. We're seeing these cars racing very tight. Oh, Dirty Monkey misjudged that corner. Oh, then reverses back into DK's car. Oh no, I think that was Mick Cliff's car. He did just reverse back into Mick Cliff. That's going to have heavily crippled his car. Mick Cliff was a lap down as well. Let's race a fair bit of damage to Dirty's car. Demons really closing that gap down in on Pretzelnator. He's going to have to keep up this hustle. See if you can force an error out of Pretzel. Start following that same racing line. Needs to gauge where he can try and force a slight little error where he can then pick an opening. There's very little opportunities to be able to make a pass. We're currently in second place. 4 seconds behind our race leader, Corby 387. He's on lap 10 of 11. He's led for the entire race. Flat stick down through the tunnel. Do we see Corby get a lot of time made up for coming down into that chicane? Hopefully we haven't jinxed him by jumping on board. Very tidy lines. He's been very consistent for the entirety of the race. Nice line through the last couple of corners. Come up to some lap traffic now. I think that's Paulie just up ahead. And it's Paulie's car. Will be showing the blue flag. However, with not many opportunities to be able to really get out of the way, I was going to have to be cautious and then try and predict just where he's going to be on the track. Generally, they should just hold their racing line and slow out of the corner and allow the lapping car to accelerate quicker and get around. Pulling up, like we saw just then, can potentially lead to a shunting situation. Demon Effects still trying to get around Pretzel. This is the last lap. It's now or never. Corby Only leading by 3 seconds. Where has closed that in. Demon is really looking to get around Pretzel on this lap. It was a tad slower, about 0.7 slower than Pretzel on the last lap. And Pretzel's really pulling away here. Unless a significant error occurs. I don't think there's going to be a change in position. Simo Sims just up ahead. Here we have Corby wrapping up, taking the checkers for the first race of round 2. We're taking the second place. Very close between Pretzel and Demon. Pretzel taking the podium in position 3, followed by Demon in position 4. Mikey Mark crosses in 5th. Lucky having a good run as well. He's got those wipers going. Crosses the line in 6th position. He's got a 1 second time penalty. Gallen a fair way behind. Ooh, he's struggling with that car at the moment. Bending it in those last couple of corners. He's only got a couple of seconds. That's lucky as well. That was DK about to come around the corner. Oh, he was going to wait for him, and then they both made contact. Gallen's going to let him through, so we see Malaki in 6th, Dirty in 7th. Gallen's going to redress that position. Gives position 8 to DK. Gallen crosses in 9th position. Cool Boy coming up in 10th. 15 seconds between himself and Simo Simsel. There's 40 seconds remaining of the race. We'll see Cool Boy take 10th position. Should be enough time to see Simo cross the line. That was a very tight race. That's going to mean that's going to be quite exciting seeing them do 22 laps for the main race coming into session 2 tonight. Corby 387 taking victory. Also on the podium is Wira in 2nd place and Pretzelnader in 3rd place. Let's have a look and see who the fastest lap bonus points would go to. I think it's a 134.985 set by Wira. If there is anything quicker, I've got to scroll down. No, yes. Yeah, that is the quickest lap time. We're getting those 10 bonus points. So the rest of the placings is in 4th position, Demon Effects, followed by Marky Mark, Balaki, Dirty Monkey, DK Rush, Gallen, Cool Boy, Simo Simsel, Mick Cliff, DG, Paulie, and Sami, who retired. And we did see Philly Manili disconnect. So we'll be having a 9-minute break, and then we'll be heading into session 2. We've got another 15-minute qualifying, and then we will have the main race, which is 22 laps around Azure circuit with a mandatory pit requirement. So there's going to be plenty of great action to be seen with how these guys have been driving so far. So do stay tuned. We'll be back shortly.
And welcome back for session 2 of round 2, the Pagnian Imports Ferrari 488 Challenge. We are at Azure circuit. We could just see Corby 387 have a spectacular race in race 1, leading for the full 11 laps and taking victory. And then the main race is 22 laps. It's going to be very grueling and quite tiresome for the drivers by the end of that. It is only a short track, however, it is very tight with 19 turns and then not many opportunities to pass and plenty of walls. We saw some very tight action between the drivers, and especially Pretzel and Demon sticking to each other's tail for the entire 11 laps, putting on pressure to Pretzel for the entirety. We'd see Sami retire out, so it looked like there may have been some contact between himself and Gallen, which caused a fair bit of damage for him. And then he spun around at another section, taking further damage. We saw Philly Manili end up getting disqualified at the race start. He ended up having a technical issue with his steering wheel. Actually came up saying his controller was disconnected. So with him trying to reconnect the steering wheel back in, it didn't actually register with the game that it was plugged in, so he couldn't actually hit that ready button to be able to go across, which saw him end up going to the pits with a DQ. And then he having to exit out of the session to be able to get that wheel to then become responsive again. Hopefully no technical issues for him in the second session. That's where the big points are at. Philly did qualify in second place. He had a very good opportunity to try and push out into that lead and get ahead of Corby. So qualifying from position 2 could very well be quite an effective strategy, as it's going to put them in a much better track position for that first corner. Callan makes a little bit of wall contact. Appearing to crab walk just a little bit. Some lag going on with Kubo. It looks like his car is actually clipping in a wall. And same again. If it's going to show you, he's showing he's taking significant damage to the car. However, he actually hasn't made any wall contact.
Let us know in the chat who you think is going to be taking victory in the main race. Will Corby follow suit in race 2? Drove very consistently. And it will come down to pit strategy, and it looks like Paulie's taken a grid place penalty. He's copped a 1 grid place penalty. He's going to have to ensure he qualifies in a strong position to wane that off. Hey T-Rex, thanks for joining us, mate. Yeah, silly Philip. It is very unfortunate for him. And in the lobby, Pretzel was commenting just how much pressure Demon was putting on him for the entirety of the race. Those two did sit at that same gap that entire time. There was no room for error. As I was mentioning, Demon was really trying to gauge and put some pressure on and try and force an error. Pretzel was very aware that was what his plans were, as they were both having that very similar pace. They were joking that they were going to swap around, let Demon lead ahead of Pretzel for the first 11 laps to put the pressure on him, and then swap over for the remaining 11. Look at that, Philly smashes in a 1:35.093 for the first timed lap. That's a good start, getting pole position. We saw it get down to 1:34s in the first session. Where it's got some massive pace going down through the tunnel. Malarkey currently qualifying third. He's got those wipers on again too, not sure. Go with his wipers. Mark's just brought that car back in. DK finding that car to be a little bit slippery at the moment. And the drivers finding plenty of times having scraped these walls. Even our race winner, Corby, his car showing signs of several scrapes along those sides. Drivers will probably be rather pleased as we head into round 3 next week at Brands Hatch. Oh, Gallen, a little bit slippery. Whereas just stolen pole position, a 1:34.140. Billy qualifying in second place now. Similarly to what we saw in session 1. Three drivers yet to get time on the board, waiting on Cool Boy, Paulie and Simo. I think that's Wira that's just been turned around. I think after just bring that straight into the pits, or is he going to wait? Narrowly avoids contact. It's going to be hard to turn around. This is where we saw Gallen get stuck on the final lap. That's Demon, I think, that he's just ran into. Bring that car in and get fixed. He's probably not going to bring it. Drivers can bring up their options and bring the car back to the pits, and they'll drive back out of the garage stall, whether their tyres will be fresh again and require them to end up having to get temp back into those tyres, or if they do just head in and just get some quick repairs done during the qualifying session instead, you can get back out on track without having to worry about that out lap being on cold tyres. Oh, Philly broadly gets that tail out, narrowly avoids that outside wall. He's really pushing that car, nearly scraping the wall on the corner exit. Using every bit of track he can. He's got a 1:35.093. What he set, that was a 1:36.217. He's been bumped down to 4th position now. Balaki sneaks in with a 1:34.759. Balaki doing some amazing times out there. Oh, scrapes that wall. That could be costly. However, if he goes into the race having qualified, setting a 1:34, that is a phenomenal qualifying time. He's only 0.015 away from Sami's time. Hopefully some better luck in the race for Sami. He's our championship leader after round 1. So at least retiring in race 1, he does not lose race points. He cuts straight through the chicane. We're using those last couple of corners, try and put some extra temp into the tyres. Slides that out. He's really entering turn 1 with a fair bit of speed. Demon FX qualifying in 2nd place, 1:34.519, 0.379 away from Wira's pole setting time. Oh, we've just had a disconnect from someone. Cool Boy's just disconnected. There's 5 minutes remaining. There'll be enough time for him to be able to rejoin the session. He can get in before the timer gets to 3 minutes. I'm pretty sure he'll be fine. Demon nearly scrapes that wall. Balaki is our youngest driver. Can't remember what his age is. I think he's about 14 years of age. Most of us in the league are much, much older. He's been coming a long way through the series. He had a great run in the RSO 1s, laying down some phenomenal lap times. He's landed a podium as well. When he did the first start, he was down towards the back end of the leaderboard. And he finished very well in the championship for the RSO 1 trophy. If he can have a cracker of a result, Cool Boy's joined back in. He's just made it in time, so there's only 47 seconds left before that cut-off. He would have missed the race start. If like he can keep this run up, we could definitely see a potential podium finish in the championship. Would be fantastic to see. Oh, disconnect again. Mick Cliff disconnecting. Hopefully he can rejoin back in before it cuts him off. It's going to be disappointing, especially in his first race with his full setup. Haven't got a chair in the stand and wheel all done. Hopefully he can get back in. You're holding that pole position, 1:34.140. I think that's Paulie in behind him, struggling with that car at the moment. will jump on board for a lap around the circuit with Weira. Down to these final corners. Very nice line. Oh, Midcliffe, he's joined back in. I think he's managed to get back in. Hopefully we see number come up on the board. Otherwise he may have joined just too late, so I think it was just after that 3-minute cut-off. We're on for a very quick... Oh, a little bit slippery. Wall contact. That's alright, he can stay on for this lap. It hasn't damaged his car. He's got ample time to get that round for one more lap. 0.699 off his pole setting time. Very nice line through the hairpin. Second hairpin. Oh, scrapes that wall. Drifts out towards that outside wall in the tunnel. Down to the chicanes. Not quite out far enough to that right side to get that nice line. However, this lap's not his best, so he's going to probably just use it for practice and keep tamping those tyres. The car's going to be very light at this point. He's only got 8 litres of fuel. Nice line through the chicane. Great last couple of corners through turns 15 and 16. There's a lap around the Azure circuit. And as a Monaco, we're still holding pole position. Marky Mark's come up with 1:34.218. I think we have lost Midcliffe. He'll be in the lobby, however, he may not be getting in that last 3 minutes. That's mean he'll miss the race start. Colby's qualified in 3rd position. Qualifying is complete. There's 90 seconds left to get final laps done. If pole's going to be stolen, it's got to be done now. We're currently qualifying 5th position. This is his last lap. Will he improve his time? He's got a 1:34.744. He's backed off a fair bit. That's his qualifying done. This is Balaki's last lap. Just look at our first 6 positions qualifying times. 1:30. We're a set of 1:33.560. Same as Corby of 1:33.6.040. And our first 6 are in the 1:34 marks. Oh, and Gallons made a mess on that last lap there. Sure if we're as AI driving the car currently. Could very well be. There must have been. There we have the results for qualifying for race 2 of round 2 of the Pagnian Imports Ferrari 488 Challenge. We're De Jury taking pole position, setting a blisteringly quick 1:33.560, and then Corby only 0.040 away, qualifying in position 2, so that is very tight. And then even Marky Mark 0.6 away from that, qualifying in 3rd position. So the rest of the grid, starting from the front, we have Weira, followed by Corby, Marky Mark, Demon Effects, Sami, Balaki, Philly Manili, Gallant, Pretzelnator, Dirty, Monkey, DK, Rush, Simo Simzel, DG, Paulie, who has 2 grid places now, so that will see him bump down into position 15, and then see Cool Boy move up into position 14, and then Mick Cliff unable to reconnect in time to be able to make the grid start. And Corby, having qualified in second, being in that very good position to get a run into turn 1 now. In the first race, Corby took pole and started from that P1. He had the inside line. He did get away a little bit slower as well. We did have a battle too wide going through turn 1. We were trying to get a good run as he did start on that same inside line in behind Corby. Will be looking very good if he can get away to a brilliant start. A little bit slow in race 1. Right, if he can dominate this start and then start pulling away very quickly. Keep away from all the traffic. He's going to have free run of the track for a good majority of the time. And it'll just come down to ensuring he can last out the 22 laps nice and clean without getting caught up in too much traffic, and that pit strategy all working perfectly, as there is a mandatory pit requirement for the race. Drivers using that full 2 minutes to get ready. Hopefully that's not meaning we've seen another connection issue. No, we haven't seen anyone drop out, so that's lucky. We haven't seen it. Also got our results. I should move that over. Here we are. Lights go green for race 2, round 2. Wira gets away very quickly. Corby very slow on the getaway. Marky Mark moves up alongside of Demon. Nearly going too wide. A little bit of shunting going on. Pushing and pulling between Philly and Blackie. Oh, looks like we just suffered a disconnect. DG just disconnected. Corby and Wira still battling it out the front. Ooh, a little bit of a touch. Corby goes for an inside line for the first hairpin. Gets out into a nice position for the second hairpin. It was almost a switchback attempt by Wira. Corby owned that track position, and it was just a tiny nudge. Marky Mark, we want to actually catch up to the car. Battling out with Wira. He was almost going to go side by side down through the tunnel. So that could have potentially seen him actually understeer out into the side of Wira, as he wouldn't have been able to maintain that same speed on that tighter trajectory through the corner. Demon Effects feeling some pressure from Philly. Corby already 2.5 seconds ahead at the moment. Look at Marky Mark sitting right on the tail of Wira. I think there may have even been a little bit of a rub. That's Wira going into the pits. Maybe that was a jump start. Maybe serving a drive-through penalty potentially. Try and bring up Wira to see where he is. There he is. He did actually stop. He had the crew come out. Not sure if he did stop. May have seen a drive-through. But Corby already dominating now. 3.8 seconds ahead on lap 2. Marky Mark gets out into position 2. We have Demon Effects. They're just facing, you see Corby already making his way down through sector 2. Billy and Sami battling it out for position 4. Billy having a lot more pace coming down through that sector. Gets that car out towards that wall. Some huge speed. But he cuts that corner a fair bit. Not sure if that's going to be a slowdown at all. It looks like he may be abiding by it. Whether over the course of 22 laps it may just be worth doing it. Oh, Demon's been spun around. Oh, nearly reversing out into Balaki. Going to flip spin that around very quickly. He's on the racing line now. That's Dirty Monkey. He's just reversed back in the Dirty Monkey. Paulie now needing to get around. That's some critical damage, and a car reset for Demon as well. That's going to be very costly for Demon Effects. There'll be some post-race incident penalty points for that situation, and it's also 20 points for a car reset as well. We now have Sami up in position 3. That could be very quickly taken away from him by Philly. Philly's showing some huge pace. Got a few cars in the pits now. Pretzel heading into the pits. We're back in again. Not sure if he's taken damage again. Perhaps that first time going in may have been for a jump start. I think it's going to be a lengthy pit stop for Demon Effects. Looked like he took a fair bit of damage. Oh, DK having some issues. Misjudging that chicane. Makes 2 lots of wall contact. This is the section where it all went wrong for Demon. Causing significant issues for other cars as well. Not being able to get that car turned around in time. So he's now back on the track. He's in position 14. We're having been into the pits twice. Now sitting hot tight on the tail of Pretzelnator. Ooh, scrapes that wall. Philly just got around Sami. Philly's car showing some signs of contact to that front bar. DG has rejoined in the session. He'll probably be able to at least sit back and watch the drivers. Then we have Corby already coming up to some lap traffic now, only on lap 4. That's because of Demon's lengthy repair after that accident. Blue flag will be coming up for Demon. Whoever Demon does have that similar pace. I have to quickly find an opportunity to be able to let Corby get through. He makes a little bit of wall contact. That's going to allow DK Rush to close that gap in. Much nicer line through that chicane for DK this time. Good see him make wall contact a couple of times last lap. Bit of understeer coming to that last couple of corners. Allowed Sami to pull away a little bit quicker. Sims are currently running in 8th position. And quickly closing down in on Cool Boy. DK having a pretty good run through sector 1s, close that gap down on Sami. Less than half a second. Or Sami's misjudged that heavy. He got right up over the curb, scraped that wall. Didn't seem to cost him too much. We're still trying to catch back up to Pretzelnator. Gallen currently in 13th position. Catch up someone here. Simo is flying in behind. Oh, I think there's going to be a wall scrape. Nearly takes that wall. Going to be a lot of aero wash here. He's going to have to be very cautious. Car gets very tricky to try and pull up once you're in that slipstream. Corby on lap 6, now leading the race by 5.6 seconds at this stage in race 1. Only halfway through the race, he was leading by about 2.5 to 3 seconds and teetering around that margin. It wasn't until a few laps later he got up to about 4 seconds. Only going to have that come back down again with Ferrari quickly chasing him down. We see a repeat from race 1. Will Corby take victory again? It's lap 6 of 22. DK still looking to try and get around Sami. He was sitting hot tight on his tail. Down with that bumper of DK's car. Team really close in. Take advantage of that aero. She's got to try and get across. Get that nice line. Very tight. A little bit of understeer as he comes out of the last corner of the chicane. And compensating back off that throttle, which allowed Simon to start to pull away again. Cool boys, car showing some damage to that front end. That front bar's flapping around. He's going to be losing some top end speed. The car's probably not going to be biting down as much down that front end. Going to be, I think Simo's probably going to have a lot more pace than what Cool Boy's got currently. DK starting to drop back a little bit from Sami. Only a second behind him. Mark doing a fantastic run, sitting in position 2. 6.2 seconds away from the race leader. He's out there putting down some very consistent laps. Fairly evenly matched to fill his times, which is handy. He's got 5 seconds away from him. Really showing a bit of damage for that car. Doesn't seem to be overly affecting it, so it could just be because of some lag. Oh, a solid hit into that wall for Sami. Marky Mark had spun around, narrowly gets out of the way just in time for Sami. Scrapes that wall as he hits up over that exit curb. Mark's mistake now means Philly's in position 2. He's 11 seconds away from our race leader Corby. 4 seconds behind Philly is Sami. We'll have a look at the time penalty that's been applied to Philly Manilli. Currently wearing a 1 second post-race time penalty. Just slightly scrapes that wall. I'll show you who that is up ahead. I think that's Wira. Wira's currently in 14th position. Wira slows down, moves out of the way as the blue flag is shown. Sami and DK both get through. Quickly puts the foot down to try and tow back in behind these guys. Ooh, wall contact for Corby. FX in behind him. He's currently a lap down. Barrel currently in 12th position. Wally in 11th. Looks like he's closing that gap down on Pretzelnator. Mark's gone into the pits. Some tyre change, some repairs by the looks of things as well. Oh wow, Simo move up into P8. Simo having gotten around Cool Boy. No, he hasn't. He actually dropped back a spot. Cool Boy making some wall contact. Both Dirty and Cool Boy having a fair bit of front end damage. The front bar's barely hanging on. Locking in and sticking up against that front left wheel under braking. A good 2 seconds quicker compared to Cool Boy last lap. Philly running in position 2. 15 seconds behind our race leader Corby 387 is led from the start of the race. Had a phenomenal round tonight. With Corby coming second in the championship, he's got 180 points. Sami having to retire and taking last place in the first race. And taken pole positions and qualifying second, plus a race victory. He can take race victory in the main race. He's going to have a very good lead for the championship. Sami's going to have to ensure he finishes at least in that top 3 to make up for the bad run in race 1. He does have a 40-point lead ahead of Corby. He needs to try and finish as close to Corby as he can in this race. There's a freeway battle for position 6 at the moment. Philly's just pulled into the pits. Look how tight that is. Oh, Simo's just made contact to that wall. And again, solid wall contact. He's struggling with his car at the moment. He was showing a huge pace. He quickly caught up to Dirty and Cool Boy. Mark currently in position 9. He did go in pit after that spin and the crash that he had early on in the race. If he can stay out for the remainder of the race and not require another pit stop, he's definitely going to recover a fair few more positions. Billy currently in 4th. He has been and served his pit, hitting on lap 10. Just making it around that halfway mark. Not sure if they'll stay out on softs. If they'll swap over to some hard tyres with those track temperatures being rather cool rather warm at the moment. They could definitely hold out. Mark positions himself alongside of Dirty Monkey, looking for an opening to get through. Makes a pass just before the tunnel. That was a very tight pass. Looks like that bonnet may be missing from Dirty's car now. No, it's just heavily buckled. Looks like we've had someone retire out as well. Now only 13 cars out on the grid. I think that's where is retired out. Going to allow some opportunity for some movement around that top end of the championship standings. Larky in for his first stop. He's racing Cool Boy in the pits. Going out onto pit lane. Going to be rejoining Semo Simsel just ahead, so they've just pulled out just in time. Out on some fresh rubbers. Sami now wearing a post-race time penalty. 1 second's been applied. Now having had repairs done to that front bar. Dirty Monkey still out on track. May pay to deal with that front bar in the course of the next couple of laps. I think it may be costing him a little bit of time. BK currently running in third position. Looking pretty good in position 4. He has been in and pit as well. He's 11 seconds behind position 3. Okay, misjudges the chicane. He's definitely going to probably be able to take at least 2 positions by the time Sami and DK head in for their mandatory pit requirement. Bring up some timings to see who's got the fastest lap of the race so far. 1:35.240 set by Corby. That looks to be the fastest lap. 1:35.240 is the quickest lap set so far. That's by Corby. And these cars are going to start getting lighter on fuel. If the default setups, the game would have given the cars enough fuel to get around for the 22 laps. I'm pretty sure the fuel tank size will be sufficient enough for that fuel load to carry them through for the entirety of the 22. Oh boy, moves out of the way for Sami. Sami not losing much time. Cool Boy getting up over that inside curb on the hairpin to let him through. Demon effects. To get up and around. Looks like we've had another retiree. We're down 12 cars now. Trying to pick who that may have been that's tired out now. now on lap 15. Cobby's leading that race by 18.4 seconds. 7 laps to go. Seen Weira retire out earlier on. DG and Mitcliffe both suffered disconnects. DG disconnecting on those opening lap. Mitcliffe, those last moments of the qualifying session, missing out. Mike's about 30 seconds behind Philly Manilli. He's got 14 seconds between himself and Pretzel. Balaki looking to battle it out for position 10. It looks like Dirty Monkey's retired out. That's who it is that we're missing. Bring up, it could very well have been. He did have some damage, so he would have been looking at pitting in around at this time as well. He could have very well even suffered a DQ for speeding in pits, or if he just took damage and decided to retire that car up. Cool Boy is really battling it out with Simo. Couple of nudges going on. Simo now pulling away rather quickly. Cool Boy and Simo both starting to close that gap in on Balaki. Only been in and pitted now. Got 6 laps to go. Still trying to close in and have another go at Simo. Simo's front bars flapping about as well. He's made a front nudge. Boy misjudges that corner and slightly takes the wall. He's still running in that top 3, where he needs to be. Really taking those 2 positions, having had Sami and DK head in and serve their pit. We are looking for Cobby to head into the pits. Got ample time to do it. He's got 35 seconds over the race. There's a bit of debris of someone's car. Not sure whose car that is. Another white car. It might be Paulie's front. Actually, I think that's the rear bar of Paulie's car. So there he's going back into the pits. He's only just come out from the pits. No, he isn't going in. That's Corby that's just decided to peel off into the pits. It's a good opportunity to do so, especially as he's catching up to some traffic, and the animation for the pit crew is great. The guy got the rattle gun into the wheel as Corby released. Billy Mealy showing some front end damage still. Just haven't got. He had just passed around Cool Boy, and he's actually missing the bonnet on the car now. taking a solid hit. Corby re-enters after his mandatory pit requirement with 19 seconds over position 2. Only got 4 laps. Having been in and pit, getting away from those couple of cars coming up into the traffic, which he was going to have to lap, was a very good time to head in and pit, so as not to get caught up and lose that lead he has on the race, or worse, get involved in an incident that could cost him the race after having led for the full 18 laps so far. Would have been devastating for that. And there's Paul, he's got some issues with that car as well. He's missing the bonnet. Corby gets around nice and cleanly and very quickly, does not lose any time in getting around the laps car. Army currently running a good 3 seconds quicker than Philly, which could be very interesting given they only got a 4 to 5 second gap between the two. With 4 laps remaining, if Sami can keep this pace up, could very well be on his tail and passing him by the end of the race. We've done reasonably well. We're on lap 19. Azure's only taken 2 casualties so far, with 2 being unfortunate disconnects. He's missing that front bar as well. He's catching up to Coolboy. Did lose out of position to him before. Paulie's back into the pits. He's just had that car fixed up. He's taken some solid front end damage. Right up over that curb. If that was Stimo, I don't think that is Stimo behind him. I'm sure who's in that blue car. Demon Effect's doing alright considering he took that accident early on in the race. Up into 8th position. Oh, Philly's just gone for a spin and put it into the wall before the second chicanes. That's just allowed Sami to get through. Looks like he's fared reasonably well. It looked like that front end went straight in the wall. It obviously isn't turning greatly. He's definitely got some heavy suspension damage there. Yeah, he's decided to retire that car up. That's unfortunate at this point in the race. He's obviously steering very bad to have to retire it with only a couple of laps left in it, especially with a podium chance. He's obviously not going to make it around for another lap with it not being able to steer like that. It's going to help our championship leader Sami, having had retired in race 1 tonight. There's 120 points up for grabs for the victory of race 2. Sami can take 2nd place. It's definitely going to help him with his 40-point lead over Corby, having come into round 2. Monaco sees another casualty, being Philly. It's very sad, very unfortunate at that back end of the race with only 3 laps to go. He'd had a crack of a race, some brilliant times. I think we still have fastest lap of the race going to... Oh, we know it's been taken away. Demon Effects, 1:35.060. Demon on fire at the moment. We're on lap 21. Demon's looking to get around Gallen. He was 0.8 slower last lap around with Gallen. Gallen goes for the inside line, but I think there's a little bit of lag. It looked like a really bad position to be trying to take that chicane. He does have that front end damage as well. Strap over those curbs. Corby's looking pretty safe for a double victory for round 2. We will be inviting in our podium finishers for an interview at the end of the race. Be sure to throw any questions you want to ask the drivers into the chat. We can relay that to them. Don't forget, if you are just new to our stream, you haven't done so, hit that follow button so you can be notified when we do go live. And we will be live again tomorrow, 7:30 PM Australian Standard Time, for our final special event for the Beyond Blue fundraising that we've been doing. And it is another no rules race. Well, there's a bit of debris on the track. Looks like a blue bonnet on cars are driving over it. It does actually cause damage to the cars when they actually do drive over debris. It has affected Demon's car just a little slight bit on that front bar. I think that may be Simo's. We've lost another. It's Simo's bonnet that they were driving over. Demon Effects losing that momentum to be able to get around and pass Gallen, having gotten caught up behind Paulie. We're on lap 22. Colby having a bit of fun with the car, doing some weaving. It's been a phenomenal drive for Corby for both the races. Oh, a little bit of wall contact. That's fine. He's got 35-second lead. Sami's just dropped a position. DK's moved up into P2. Sami's made contact into the wall. He's got a fair bit of damage. So there we have all that car's there steering crooked as well. It's costly for Sami. P2 would have been much better. However, at least he did see the fastest lap bonus points be stolen away from Corby. So he's not going to have an extra 10 points over him. So losing that position down to P3 won't be too harmful to his championship lead. And here we have DK bring it up into P2 on the podium. Sami's got that post-race time penalty. It's not going to affect him. He's got 20 seconds. Sami crosses the line on the podium, position 3. With a heavily battle damaged car. Breaks that wall. The drivers are going to be very well fatigued at the end of 22 laps, especially after just doing 11 laps in the sprint race. Mark crosses the line in 4th position. Well done to be bringing in Corby, DK and Sami for a chat at the conclusion of the race. Pretzel crosses the line in position 5. Gallen in position 6. Demon Effects very close behind in position 7. There we have the conclusion of round 2 of the Pagnian Imports Ferrari 488 Challenge. Corby 387 taking a double win in round 2. So congratulations to Corby. And then also on the podium is DK Rush in position 2 and Sami in position 3. And the rest of the field we have Marky Mark, Pretzelnader, Gallen, Demon Effects, Balaki, Coolboy, Simo Simsel, Paulie, Philly Minilli having retired on lap 18, Dirty Monkey in 12th having retired on lap 12, and Wirra having retired on lap 9. So unfortunate for that early retirement, and especially for Philly in those last few laps, having been up into P2 and having a crack of a race so far. So I will be inviting Corby, DK and Sami into the chat. Takes a moment to load up my screen. There we are. Should see them jump in very shortly. And I think Demon still took the fastest lap bonus points. Demon Effects taking a 1:35.060, stealing away Corby's fastest lap in those last few laps. And who have we got? We got Corby. DK, Sami.
Cheers, JT. How you going, mate?
How you going? Congrats on the podium, DK.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Very unexpected.
Yeah, managing to get around Sami just in that last lap to take P2.
Yeah, he had a bit of damage apparently, so...
Yes, yeah, very unfortunate. Sami just missing out on that last lap, losing that position to DK.
Yeah, second last lap, coming off the front straight there, I just, went in too hot and couldn't pull it up and hit the walls, so I had bent steering and struggling to hold it straight, so I knew DK would have got me, so...
Yeah, still a good finish, especially with the big points up for the main race, having had to retire out in race 1.
Yeah, certainly a bonus, that's for sure. So...
Congratulations, Corby, double win.
Yeah, thanks, mate. It's been a productive night.
It's going to be pretty close for championship points too, because you were only trailing behind Sami by 40 points coming into tonight's round, so a double win and taking a pole position as well is going to probably fit you guys up pretty tight coming into Brands Hatch next week.
I think for this track, that's a pretty good. Like, I was worried about it all week, really. Like, you can get stuck behind a car pretty easy, or they crash, or you crash. So, yeah, look, it's about like any track, but especially here, just don't make any errors. Like, even if you sacrifice a second a lap, just keep it straight.
Yeah, some very consistent laps for the whole way. So it's very well done. You did have the fastest lap of the race for majority of the race, and Demon and only just taking that away in those last few laps.
Oh, really? Bugger.
Yeah,
that's all right.
So,
he come out of pits there at one stage and tacked on behind me. So it took me a while to shake him off, but he had a good pace.
Done very well considering nailing 22 laps around Monaco. It's, you'd be well and truly buggered.
Yeah, definitely a tough track. Well done, Corby.
Yeah, well done,
Thanks,
Corby.
mate.
Congrats on the double win.
Yeah, thanks, boys.
And the pole.
Yeah, congrats, guys. I look
good
forward
drive,
to
Sonny.
seeing you battle it out next week at Brands Hatch.
Yeah, thanks, JT.
Cheers, JT.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Appreciate it. Cheers, DK. Well done, DK.
Have our podium finishers with Corby Ferrari at 7 taking victory, DK in P2 and Sami in P3. And as I was mentioning, tomorrow night we will be having our special event for Project Cars 2 with the Beyond Blue special event, so do stay tuned to check that out. But we will be back again for the next round of the Pagnian Imports Ferrari 488 Challenge, and we are at Brands Hatch for the third round, and we are changing time, so we are moving to daylight savings time come this weekend. So that means the start time will be 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. So if you are in different time zones to daylight savings time, do take that into account. But we do thank you for tuning in and hope to see you trackside next week.